course, we're dropping into the Piccadilly Arcade, and there's no place more associated with the Piccadilly Arcade than Bud Shirtmakers, really kind of a mainstay of the British establishment, especially in traditional clothing for such a long time. And we're joined today by a chairman of Bud Shirtmakers, Stephen Murphy. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us. It's got to be so exciting to finally be back in the shop and welcoming customers back in.
Kirby, you said it. Absolutely delighted. You know, we've seeing familiar faces again. The shop has got life in it again. We love it. Absolutely love it. But we've been working behind the scenes, let me tell you, to get open in the first place, make sure we've got everything that customers need when they walk in the door.
Well, I mean, of course, I've seen, and I follow Bud Shirtmakers on Instagram, and have seen that, Andy and the entire team have been certainly very active, even while the shop's been closed. Have you been able to continue to service your bespoke customers during all of this?
We have, miraculously. We've been doing some Zoom calls, and for customers really who we have a pattern and they haven't changed too much during lockdown, then they've been calling us up to get topped up on their shirt needs. But most people are now coming in. They like to see us in person. So that's really what it's all about. It's that personal service.
Absolutely. I mean, that is what London is so famous for, is just that personalized service and just the caliber. I mean, Andy Rowley, of course, who's been he's a legend kind of in the classic menswear space. And, personalities like that, you really only find in London, and only, from the heritage, shops like Bud Shirtmaker.
Yeah, no, it's true. I may be the chairman, but I'm his apprentice, quite frankly. I come in on Saturdays and when we're special days and just listen to him, and he teaches me all the time, so that's why I love it, quite frankly. Him and Mr. Butcher.
So What else have you been working on? I mean, it's April. We're opening up really kind of just in time for the summer season. And so how are you looking to kind of kit out your customers as they look to be able to travel again?
Well, we've got sort of the safari linen shirt, which has been very popular. So we've got a couple of new colors in that. So it's a shirt jacket, and that's been come back in a khaki green again, that we got back in a wonderful cloth, wonderful linen for that. So slightly heavier weight, so you can wear a t-shirt underneath it and travel very comfortably. We've got a Giro Inglese cloth coming in. We call it the Riviera. I hope we're down in the Riviera to wear it, let me tell you. But that's also that'll be released shortly. Super lightweight honeycomb that was developed really for the colonial wear by the British Empire. So we've brought some of those cloths back in a blue and a white, and we've got a seersucker as well. So we've got a seersucker cloth, which it's somewhere between formal and casual. It's a super lightweight cloth, as you know, but it's we put a formal cuff on it, so we've got a double cuff on it. So something interesting, a little twist. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what's so great about Bud, of course, is you have to look no farther than just your archive to really kind of pull out inspiration for a lot of these pieces. And it's that authenticity and that quality and that craftsmanship and the tradition, of course, that really make all of the fares from Bud so exceptional.
Yeah, I know, it's true. When you go upstairs in the store here, you can pull out one of 4,000 patterns, old patterns from customers. And if you ask the cutters, have you seen this collar before? Or, have you seen this cuff before? They'll pull out a pattern, and we've made it for someone, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. We have that human archive in Mr. Butcher, and Darren and James as well, a more contemporary archive. So it's great.
Well, it's such a vault of kind of traditional British kind of dressing and British style. I'm actually, in honor of, kind of returning to London virtually today, I'm wearing my bespoke Bud Shirtmakers shirt also. And, again, just the kind of the understated elegance of, the collar and the proportions really are something that I enjoy so much about Bud.
Well, we work very hard in it behind the scenes. We're like the swan that looks serene on the water, but underneath it all, you've got the girls in the workroom in Andover, and you've got all the care and attention that goes in upstairs in the cutting room. So Yeah, I'm so chuffed you're wearing a Bud shirt. I really love that. I'm wearing the faux. We did some knitwear with H.G. Lockie and Sons, so I'm wearing I'm too casual today because I actually wasn't expecting to be on camera, but I'm wearing our faux turtleneck, which I quite like. It's just a length on that faux turtleneck that just goes over just above your collar, so it's nice in a jacket. So apologies, but Andy's coming up now, having looked after a customer downstairs. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Looking smart as always. British smart, you know.
Yeah, he definitely looks the part. I'd love to hand over to him for a minute, Kirby, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mr. Rowley, I mean, it's so great to see you back in the shop. I can't imagine it has come soon enough.
It's great to be back. 2 months off is a wonderful thing, but you sort of get a little bit itchy that you want to get back at the coalface, you know.
I can only imagine. I mean, and especially for a shop like Bud, I mean, Mr. Murphy was, of course, telling me that you guys have been able to continue to service your clients. I mean, of course, through the online shop, and then just dealing direct with your bespoke clientele. But nothing really replaces, you know, that personalized service that London is so famous for. And being able to walk into the shop, have someone like you advise them, show them selections. And so I imagine for someone like you that's been, you know, doing this, you know, for such a long time, it's got to be nice to be back.
I was saying to a customer we had earlier, the lifeblood of it is that you see people and then you get your energy from people. So to converse and to talk and to swap stories and to advise them what's good for them and what isn't, in actual fact, it sort of makes you more lively.
Yeah, indeed. And it's such a cornerstone. I mean, that kind of, that back and forth, you know, that collaboration and being able to actually, be consulted and advised personally. I mean, that's why people travel all the way to London, you know, to meet with their shirt makers, to meet with their shoemaker or their bespoke tailor. It just can't be replicated over Zoom or over the phone, you know, even though that certainly has kind of helped bridge the gap, you know, during these periods where we haven't been able to travel. Nothing replaces actually being able to walk down the Piccadilly arcade, you know, stroll into Bud Shirtmaker and actually, you know, to see all of you.
Well, the idea is in selling or in life in the West End is that you don't make a sale. Your idea is to make a customer. So if you make a personal link with the customer and get them to trust your integrity, and then you've got a customer for life rather than just a sale. And that's what the West End's meant to be. It's meant to be more informal and more friendly, but at the end of the day, we're here to sell stuff.
Well, I mean, we all have to remain in business, and that's why, you know, hopefully as these lockdowns are being lifted, you know, customers and kind of patrons of all of these stores, you know, really enthusiastically go back to support them. But again, you know, the cornerstone, of course, has been that personalized level of service, you know, that trust in the relationship that, you know, is really not transactional, as you kind of pointed out. It's one of the things that I, of course, have really enjoyed about kind of all my shopping in and around the St. James's area, is that with these historic stores, you know, these heritage stores, you know, like Bud, of course, and Davidoff of London, and at Benson and Clegg, and at Florist. I mean, you know, those experiences, those relationships are really pretty unique in this world.
Well, you get a warmth and you get a history of the West End, which we carry with us and then pass on to the generation. And Mr. Chalmers, who was here from 1930 to 1980, he taught Mr. Butcher and myself what the West End was about and how important it is and what to do and what not to do. And then we're passing it on now to the next generation. We've got a young James in the shop. And talking of the modern world, which Mr. Butcher and I aren't that really much aware of, without it, it would have been difficult to survive the last year, I think, because when Mr. Murphy came here, we didn't have an email address. So while I've been off, I've been coming in maybe 1 or 2 days a month just to take care of orders for customers, get them sent out and get them made to keep the home fires burning. But with Kieran downstairs, he's got a thing which you might be familiar with, I wasn't, called live chat. And so if a customer goes on the website, he can actually speak to them and advise them what they would like and what they wouldn't like. And there was some guy, I think the week before last, bought 10 bespoke shirts.
That's amazing.
So to be open when you're shut has been a bit of a blessing, you know.
Absolutely. Well, nothing can really replace that experience of traveling to London and being able to walk in the shop. But it is great to see that kind of during these times where we haven't been able to do that, these traditional stores that have been open for over a century, really evolving and extending their level of service kind of into people's living rooms or offices around the world.
Well, I think the idea of any traditional business is you have to keep firmly rooted in the past, but you have to embrace the future and move forward as well. And when I came in today, the first thing I did was I popped out and walked up and down the arcade, and just to see all the people in the shops there ready to trade and get everything ready, it's quite uplifting.
Absolutely. Well, we couldn't be more excited to see Bud's doors back open to customers. Of course, anyone that's in London or in England, of course, make sure you drop by Bud, refreshing your selection of ties and pocket squares, maybe order a few new shirts. And hopefully, before too long, I'll be back in London and able to see all of you again.
Yeah, it's been too long to see you. I mean, we were saying last year it'd be great to see you again, and then this lot happened. So hopefully everything will calm down and the world will get back to normal. And I think by autumn, everything hopefully will be firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this is, it's a very important first step to have London, reopening. And shops able to again receive customers. I think restaurants are open for outside dining, and then will be open for indoor dining in about a month's time. And so, these are very important steps, albeit, small steps in some ways, but certainly it is means that we're on the path of in the right direction.
Yeah, the West End's a vibrant place, isn't it? With all the galleries and the restaurants and the theatres. Bit by bit, as those start to open, I think then we will get back to the state of what we consider normal. In a certain way, it's rather nice to appreciate it all the more, not having had it.
Yeah, no, there's no question that we will certainly not take for granted the shops. And, unfortunately, many shops haven't survived. I mean, there's many, Hilditch and Key right at the end of the Piccadilly Arcade, Reese was telling me is closed, it's empty. We can't take for granted these shops, and that's why I think it's important for, those that really do appreciate quality craftsmanship and tradition, to really support these stores, because, of course, without customers, they don't exist.
That's the point.
And that tradition, needs to be supported by those who appreciate it.
Well, this morning, since we've opened, we haven't stopped. So we've had customers in from when we opened up until now, non-stop. So touch wood, things are on the up.
That's great news. Well, don't let us take any more of your time. Thanks for letting us kind of check in, and it's great to see everyone is doing well.
Yep, great to see you. Thank you.